And this is a splash today and will form also the basis of our discussion this morning. Now, debate about eviction of illegal settlers in the Mau Forest Complex has taken a dangerous political twist and risks derailing the exercise. Now, a section of political leaders from the Rift Valley have resorted to threats and intimidation, inciting the settlers against the government and openly preparing ground for confrontation. That is not acceptable. A few reckless leaders cannot hold the entire country to ransom. Restoration of Mau Forest is an existential imperative. The vast destruction of the forest in the past 2 decades has led to near extinction of wildlife and vegetation, and with devastating consequences. Mau is a source of 12 rivers that flow southwards, some to Lake Victoria, but all of which are drying up fast as the forest recedes due to human encroachment. Mara River, for example, renowned for the wildebeest migration, that is a huge tourist attraction, is on its deathbed. Once a lush greenery covering some 400,000 hectares, the forest has lost an estimated 100,000 hectares in recent years due to irregular allocation of its land and illegal settlements. The cost of environmental degradation is enormous and, unless stopped, portends a huge risk to the economy. Yet, some politicians are blind to this or simply do not care. Every time attempts are made to recover and restore the forest, they rise up in arms and incite communities to resist the effort. Many mistakes were made in the past. Some people were given titles for the land they had been irregularly allocated. Public institutions such as schools were put up in the forest, which is what the politicians are using to advance the argument that the occupation of such land is legitimate. Such wrongs must be fixed. Whatever it takes, the government must clear the forest of the illegal occupants. But this must be done in a humane way. The government has to avoid the use of force against citizens, some of them helpless and innocent victims of a rogue system in the past. Among others, it has to find alternative schools for the children being moved from the forest so that they can continue learning undisturbed. Equally, it has to devise a strategy to revitalize the forest once it relocates their squatters. This is the basis of our discussion. Of course, also we play you these particular arguments that have been also going to and fro as far as the Mau Forest is concerned. Take a listen.
Hatutoki Mau. Sisi si wageni Kenya na tutakaa Mau. Try and evict us and you will see the reaction. Mau hatuondoki leo, hatukuondoka jana na hatutawahi toka sehemu ya Mau. And I tell people who are living in Mau that on Monday, let their kids go to school like any other child.
If 5,000 children will wake up tomorrow, Monday morning, the 2nd of September 2019, and are not assured of having a school where they closed in second term, I think nothing could be more important in this country than that.
We will not be engaging in name calling, shouting matches, and other activities that are likely to raise tensions amongst the people.
Senior officials of this government have been making telephone calls and threatening and intimidating Natembeya, asking him to go slow on this, making all sorts of threats and insinuations. And these are not ordinary human beings. They are not the fellas you hear, oh, you know, they have nowhere to go. These are miserable. No. These are the who is who. Fellas who already have properties elsewhere in this country and maybe, very likely, outside this country.
Mahali tumefikia sasa, hatutapoteza wakati tena kwa sababu the consequences ya kuharibu ule msitu iko na sisi sasa. Ningependa kushukuru viongozi wetu wote wala naongea wanasiasa, mmesikia wakisema wanaunga mkono sana mambo ya kuhifadhi msitu. Ila lugha ya kusema kwamba watu waendelee kukaa kwa misitu, nafikiri hakuna mwanasiasa kwa sababu mnasikia anasema watu wabaki pale. Ile maneno wanasiasa wanaongea sasa ni jinsi watu watatoka katika hiyo msitu, na ndio jukumu ya hii steering committee. Tutakuwa tunafanya hiyo kazi kuhakikisha kwamba wakati tunaanza kufanya hiyo kazi inafanya katika njia ambayo ni haitaleta mambo ya utata sana ama kuonekana kwamba ni kama watu wanakuwa harassed.
Of course, as I mentioned earlier, has become a catnip issue for politicians as well, even as we are gagging towards the general election in 2022. And let's just hear from the horse's mouth this morning. We begin with Aaron Cheruiyot on this, and we put it also squarely on the table for discussion as well with other panelists to tell us more about what is happening with the Mau Forest as it is right now, and why is it becoming a catnip or a hot issue right now as we are heading towards the general election.
First of all, Dibal, I wish to take great exception with the person that did the intro into this story for you. And I think it is a product of ignorance. I'm sorry to say that because this is a show that I frequent, but I think that person needs to get out of the office and understand what you're talking about. In fact, what I will do when I leave this studio, if you can tell me who that is, I'll be donating this bundle of documents to them so that they can read and understand about the Mau. You know, we are being given long lectures about conservation as if we unschool some primitive people who don't understand that people shouldn't be living inside of a forest.
Maybe you could pass the documents to Omatangi, Bonnet, they will be looking in the meantime.
I will give them.
Yes.
You see, nobody in their right mind can argue for anyone to live inside of a forest. And I have been on record saying this, that even the county that I represent has a bigger portion, perhaps even 4 times the size of what is in Narok County, and it is properly conserved.
But let's just begin from where your argument begins. You say that Mau is not a forest.
No, Dibal.
No, I just want to get an understanding. Yeah, that's why I want to get educated as well.
Please give me 2 minutes of your time, and I hope you can even remove the earpiece so that you hear me well. What we are talking about is something called Masai Mau Trust Land. It is not inside the Mau Forest. Wamatangi, that report that you have, please go to page 29 and page 30. This is a report of a task force of Hassan Nur that was appointed by President Kibaki and Prime Minister Raila Odinga in 2009. There's another one that was appointed by President Moi in 1991. They have all come to the conclusion. You see, the Mau complex has 22 blocks. 21 of them are inside the forest. But Masai Mau Trust Land is a community land where people went to the land office in Narok County Council, paid money and have title deeds and allotment letters and sale agreements for this particular parcel of land. Therefore, our argument has been, supposing if in their studies or whatever reason has informed Keriako's Tobiko's actions, that he has reached a decision that even this 22nd block is important for the whole complex, we have said, fine. We couldn't be opposed to such a noble initiative because everybody feels that the importance of conserving the Mau. If he has reached that decision, then there is a process through which government acquires land that is in the hands of private individuals. That is a process that we are asking Keriako Tobiko to follow. But we just don't wake up one morning, move to land that people have got genuine title for and ask them to leave. That is not fair, it is inhumane, it is brutal, it cannot be a government policy. And the second thing that I have discussed, you know, because earlier on I heard Otiende speaking and saying, where is the public face of the government in many initiatives? That is, for example, the deputy president in this. And I have told him, as we speak right now, there is no cabinet directive on this second phase of Mau evictions, unlike in all other the previous ones. It has never been discussed in cabinet. And on Sunday, that press conference that you're showing, I was asking Tobiko, who gave you these marching orders? There's a whole lot of confusion. That is why you're seeing he is only using Kenya Forest Service officers. These are officers that are within his jurisdiction. Unlike in all other conservation efforts where you would have seen administration, police officers, county commissioners, and everybody else supporting him in this particular endeavor. And those are the issues which, when we raise, people should understand. Take time first to understand that I am not a mad person to tell people to live inside of a forest. Masai Mau Trust Land is not a forest. And even the day we were here on Sunday with Senator Ledamo Lekina, he admitted and he said, this is not a trust, it is not a forest, but it is a trust land which we decided to conserve, and now we have said people can get out. And the question that we are asking is, under which law? I thought we are a country governed by rule of the law. If I have a title, which I bought from you, if you feel that it is time for me to move, there's a way you do it. Even in this particular report, Dibal, as is the case in all the previous other reports, they have given 3 options to the government. Number 1 is you compensate the people that live there. Number 2 is that you give them land, alternative land elsewhere. Number 3 is that you can maintain the status quo. 3 options. Unfortunately, Tobacco does not want to consider all the previous reports. Those things that he's saying about people going to have their titles checked by county commissioners, that thing was done. That is a process the government concluded in 2009. In this report, you will find the names of people listed and how much land they have, you know, and what documentation they have. Either they have a title, they have a sale agreement, they have a letter of allotment for the entire, for the entire
Right.
piece of land that is in
And
contention.
who are these people? Because we've heard also from the CS himself saying we have also people who are powerful in this country, the upper reaches of government as well, who are owning huge expanse of land within Mao.
It is for him to tell us who they are, because the only big people that I see mentioned in this this report are the famous ones that are already known, you know, which include, by there surprisingly, Cheruiyot Tobacco himself as well. He's listed as part of the people who were allocated.
What page is that?
Or allocated.
What page is
allocated. That one is in an annexure that I do not have amongst these bundles, because this one Parliament yesterday. But the report at Kenya Water Tower Agency, which he has, which even the CS has.
So how will we substantiate that to be a true, you know, statement that you're saying that
What you
is
need
one
to
of the
do,
beneficiaries
what you
of
need
it?
to do is this morning, just go to Kenya Water Tower Agencies and ask them to give you this report of the Hassan Noor Commission in its entirety, including the annexures. Just do that. It's not a very difficult exercise. The one in Parliament doesn't have annexures.
So you think
unfortunately.
you think the CS is really having the cheek to actually mention some of these powerful people who are owning land and he's listed among the
I wouldn't want to be bogged down. That's a small issue. What I want us to focus on is his claim that these particular people are holding brief for a particular person. Let him tell us who they are. Because all those people that I have seen are listed here, including those that have got 1 acre, 10 acres, up to the huge, you know, landowners. The powerful men and women of previous regimes, they are all listed here.
All right.
Therefore,
okay, the question will be...
even some of the directives that he's giving Dibal, you know, you need to put them through the logic of common sense. How does the Minister for Environment wake up and ask pupils not to go to school? I mean, this is a government. Boni Alwale, perhaps you may need to help us, because you're the only one on this panel who has served in cabinet before. Even despite the fact that there may be the spirit of collective responsibility, as Minister for Lands, you cannot wake up and close public schools out of the blues. No. I mean, so such are the things that we are saying, and that is what I was saying in this press conference, that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy perhaps need to speak on this particular issue, because it cuts across, you know, the specter of government, and we are seeing ministers speak at cross purposes.
All right, so you are asking who is giving the marching orders to Cheruiyot Tobacco?
Yes.
From your own assessment, who do you think is giving the marching orders?
It is his own political experiment that he's engaged in until such a time, because, you know,
what do you mean political experiment?
We cannot pretend as if President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto do not know about the Mao. This is part of what put them together.
Thank you.
From 2009, the alliance was built. Actually, their marriage, if I may put it, was hatched right inside of the Mao.
All right.
They are not strangers to this particular issue.